Hello everyone, I'm an Irish identitarian, and I'm thinking that while Ireland is busy purging the ideologies that don't serve it anymore, or the invading ideologies that absolutely don't serve it and seek to destroy it, we also purge feminism. I think feminism has seen its days, and now that it's not needed anymore, it should go to the recycle bin of history. And I'm making this call because recently University College Dublin was invaded by feminist bullshit. The same international figures that have destroyed the campuses in the United States are now intent on destroying our campuses here in Ireland. They have those stupid posters of that passed out woman with beer bottles all around her, saying just because she isn't saying no doesn't mean she's saying yes. Don't be that guy. And on our 4th anniversary show on EV Radio, I kind of walked through this process with a friend of mine. I asked him, hey, would you have sex with that girl? When she's passed out? And he obviously said no. And there you go, right? I asked, well, if you saw that poster and you were the type of guy that would have sex with that woman while she's passed out, would that stop you from having sex with her? And he said, no. Because, you have to be a fucking sociopath to have sex with a passed out woman. And then I added, if I was that kind of sociopath, if a passed out girl is what got me off, that would just give me an erection. I mean, it's a pretty inviting scene if that's what you're into. And it also occurs to me now that if I was that kind of sociopath and it never had occurred to me before that I could have sex with a passed out woman, after seeing that poster, I'm sure I would make designs on doing so. If I'm already having those proclivities, then the idea of it and the fact that it's prohibited, which is, a very established psychological phenomena, I'd want to do it. So with that out of the way, now UCD, as male students have to go through rape sensitivity courses or something to do with consent, whatever they call it. I don't see why women shouldn't have to go through this, but hey, look, we know all the talking points. It's invaded Ireland. It's got a stranglehold now. It's in the UN, it's in the EU, it's in European countries. Now it's coming in for the kill in Ireland. We need to snuff it out now. We just need to throw it in the bin. Inspired by this horrible thing that just happened last week to UCD, I gave my wife an ultimatum: throw out the term feminist, or that's it, we're done. And she so far refuses to do so, because she says, well, that's not all feminists. And I argue that it is indeed all feminists that hate men and want to dominate men and don't care about men. They just simply care about their own experiences. And experiences is all that feminism today has to critique or complain about. That's all they've got. We've got the legal thing down, we've got the economic thing down. They're as free as we are. That wage gap bullshit, that's just a mathematical fuck-up. None of these people are economists, and the few feminists who are mathematicians and economists, they've come out and said, hey, I know it looks that way, but that there's no wage gap. So that illusion aside, all they have are these double standards and just ridiculous fucking complaints that to remedy them, you would literally have to get into the heads of people and re-engineer the way they think. Now, that could arguably be okay if feminism and the arguments that it makes, the complaints that it makes, wasn't gynocentric, as in they're only considering the female experience and believes that the female experience has primacy, that it has primacy in importance and impact. And I think deep down women believe that only they feel pain. The reason why I think so is because they won't give up the term feminist. It's in there. It's named after women, for God's sake. It's named after women. Okay, you look up in the Oxford Dictionary or whatever and it says the belief in the equality of the sexes, then why is it named after one of the sexes? It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm sure a lot of us have had experiences that tell us that a lot of women, they just think that their feelings are more important. It seems to be kind of ingrained in them. And those people, those women that feel that their feelings and experiences in life are more important and more painful, call themselves feminists. So we have a parallel here, we have a relationship here between being a fucking narcissist and calling oneself a feminist. A great example is from a trans woman, Blair White, who I'm going to have on my show maybe next week, maybe the week after. Now, she is a very unique perspective because she was a man and then she became a woman. And yes, I honor her chosen pronoun. You gotta see this person. If I didn't tell you that they were trans, you'd just think, oh, that's one fucking smoking hot woman. I swear. It's kind of creepy. She has lived a woman's life and has noticed this huge difference between, how people treat her. Holding doors open, lifting things, smiling. These are really small things, right? But they make a person feel more at home in the world. And dare I say, it might inflate one's ego. And now that she's a legal woman, if she does something bad, like kills someone, for instance, she could get off scot-free. If she murders her children, if she turns out to be a female pedophile, she might just walk free and just claim, I'm traumatized. There's precedent for this. This has happened all around the fucking world, where women are just given the green light. Yeah, you're okay. Or, at worst, they get half the sentence, on average, that a man gets for any crime. Whenever there's a man and woman involved in some kind of situation that's, that winds them up in court, it's kind of just the public perception that, that man, that evil man got that woman involved in something she shouldn't have been in. Oh, he was probably forcing her into it. And what's funny is that a lot of the times it's the woman egging on the man. Anyhow, we all know these talking points. So she had this experience in college. She was studying psychology as her major. And she was in her class with the lecturer who was a feminist, and it was just all women, her included, and one guy. And they were discussing domestic violence, and they were all sharing their experiences of what it was like to be, abused in their household or by a significant other. And they were crying, which, she thought was kind of strange. But then it came around for the boy to talk about his experience at the hands of his girlfriend. And, he was saying these horrific things, these horrible things that happened to him. And then they all just laughed. They literally, all but Blair and the lecturer, laughed at this man because his experience isn't valid. okay? And it should be mentioned that this feminist lecturer made sure to ask everyone in the class, are they feminists? And of course they all said yes. And Blair said yes too, but her sensibilities and how she evolved in her outlook tells us that she wasn't really a feminist in the way that those other women were feminists. Those feminists were fucking narcissists. So there you have it. Feminism is narcissism. We need to throw it out the window. We need to get rid of it. It's absolutely appalling to think that somebody could actually abuse your mind. You know when you're like weak, when you're in a weak position, when you're weak of mind, or you are in a political atmosphere where you can't form your own opinions, and someone tells you to believe something, you may not even realize that this is a complete absurd thing to believe, but you adopt that belief anyway. Or maybe you are aware that it's completely absurd, but for some reason your brain just is divorced from your own critical ability. Like, you're aware that this is bullshit, but how come I can't think that it's bullshit? Do you get what I'm saying? This is what a feminist does to your mind. They abuse your mind when they tell you that feminism isn't gynocentric, it's about the equality of the genders. Horseshit. Absolute fucking horseshit. That's kind of like me saying, hey, I'm a white nationalist. And you black people, you don't need to worry. We've got you all sorted out. In our way of thinking, we've got the world all worked out from our perspective, and when we are doing better as a race, you will do better as a race. That's the same fucking ideology. Same fucking mindset. To tell somebody that's different to you, that has different life experiences to you, that you know exactly what's good for them. And at the same time, not refer to you as the same as them, but refer to yourself as different from them. While at the same time saying, I know what's good for you. It's fucking bonkers. Now, I'm sure we're all aware of where feminism comes out of. I need to smoke. That's just the way it is. This is enraging. Feminism, it comes from there's like an actual fucking reason for it to exist in the form of suffragettes, getting women to be included in the franchise, to get women into the workplace. Yeah, right, but after that, it's really just Marxism. It's another form of Marxism. And I've told you all before on my channel and in other places, I was a Marxist formerly, years and years ago. I didn't make just a radical shift between being a Marxist and being identitarian and like, oh, we've got to save our race. No, not at all. I had many stages in my intellectual development between kicking Marxism to the curb and where I am now. The reason why I kicked Marxism to the curb was because it's soulless. I'm not a Christian or anything, but I believe in a higher power. I believe that there's a purpose for us all to be here. I believe that spirit came before matter, while a Marxist conception of reality is that matter came and then created spirit. And spirit isn't all that important after all anyway, so who cares about the whole discussion, right? Well, if we are just matter with consciousness that ultimately, is inconsequential in the big scheme of things, then that reduces us to economic units. And economic units, they don't have the right of individuality, really. If it in any way impedes the good of the many, then it should be outweighed by the needs of the many. That whole Spock thing, the needs of the many shall outweigh the needs of the few. That's actually Marxism. It's that kind of philosophy that leads to such distorted thinking as the Marxist MO, more accurately, the Trotskyite MO, which is not so much to directly try to foment a communist revolution, but to worm your way into all other social concerns, all other social conflicts, like, the oppression of black people, environmentalism, taxes on this, taxes on that, anti-war, and then eventually the oppression of women, which up until the Marxist infiltration wasn't seen as oppression of women by men. It was just oppression of women in a system that just happened to be run by men. There's a clear distinction there, with exception to the rabid, crazy fucking feminists who actually despised men. But you had this philosophy and enter into every realm. You're as a Trotskyite, you're supposed to infiltrate these movements and frame everything in a Marxist light, which is oppressor versus oppressed, the bourgeoisie versus the proletariat, or whatever the fucking terminology is. And in the context of feminism, man and patriarchy is the bourgeoisie and capitalism, while women are the proletariat, and what they want to bring about is communism. It's just shifting ideas around. And I have a deeper philosophy of why the communist mentality actually is so easily ported into human consciousness, and I might actually get around to making a video about that. But I've seen this happen to movements. I've took part tacitly in the infiltration of movements as a Marxist, not really realizing what I was doing. So it's kind of clear to me that that's what feminism is today, the Marxist narrative. So if a woman tells you that she's feminist, or that not all feminists are like that, then have nothing to do with her. Just say, look, I have these facts, I have this reasoning, and there's loads of evidence that I can point to say that it's true. Now you can take me and these facts, or leave us both. Simple as that. We don't need to get out in the streets and protest. We don't need to tear things down, burn things down. We don't need to form any voters' bloc or anything. We just need a shift in consciousness that brings these revelations to the general public, so that one day that we just won't accept this bullshit anymore, and we'll see feminism for what it is: hatred of men. Penis envy, as Freud called it, which, I also think has deep roots in human consciousness, which I might even explain in another video. Ooh, I have so many designs and videos to make, and I will get around to them all. So you guys take care, and keep fighting the good fight. The power lies in you. Just talk to your friends and neighbors and colleagues, and vote with your feet and your euro, and urge your British friends to vote yes in the Brexit so that we can get out of Europe. Or just have a bloody revolution against the fucking thing and get over with overnight. I don't care. Let's just fucking do it. The power's within us, yo.